So back on the head layer, I'm going to go, and I might have to use V to move it. I might have to adjust it some more. So I'm going to get it down here to where it'll fit. And what might help at this point is to reduce the opacity so I can see what's underneath it. Okay, so I can see the neck that's underneath it there. And it looks like I'm going to probably have to adjust it a little more. So I want to rotate it a little bit. And I'm going to probably have to adjust the size again. Until I get it just right. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is, here comes the magic of masking. So I have a mask here that's on this head layer. And this is the part that looks mostly white here. The part that's not white is the pixels here. And what I'm going to do here is, actually this should be mostly black. I'm not sure why it isn't, but something happened. It's okay. Yours probably will be. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom in to this area that I want to blend here. And it actually looks like I might have to make the neck even smaller. Yeah, so let's go here and get the, or let's transform it again. And actually right there will probably work good. Yes, let's try that there. So see how that's just fitting underneath the scarf here, and these other areas should fit easily under the scarf as well. So that's what I'm trying to do here. If I turn this layer on and off, I see that scarf's underneath there, and I'm going to just make it fit right into here and try to blend in here with the scarf. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a brush again, and it needs to be a black brush because I'm hiding this stuff, and I'm going to erase what I don't want here. And most of the time I'll erase over what I need to, and then I'm going to go and blend the neck in from there. So now I'm going to get the black brush, or I'm sorry, the white brush, and I do that by hitting X, and X will switch between the colors. I'm going to make the brush smaller, and then I'm going to really try to blend it in closely here. Now it looks like part of the neck's not here. So, well, maybe it will be when we turn this on. So I'm going to bring the opacity back up so I can see it better here. Yeah, so it's good. Oops. Hit X again to erase, to blend better. And I didn't do a good job cloning here, so this is kind of off a little bit here. But again, you guys are going to do better than me. And it's all a question of just refining it to where you want it to be here. So I actually want to cover that little piece right there. I don't really like that. There we go. To that one fold right there. And I think that's fitting pretty nicely. So you can see, because we had the scarf here, it provides something that allows it to blend really well. Now if I wanted to, I can clone this again, because I didn't do such a good job here to get some of the hair back over here. Just get the clone stamp tool and make sure I'm on the pixel part of the layer and sample. Now I got rid of that line there. If I want some of these hair details, I need to sample out here. And then that gets it there. So then let's zoom back out, and we have a nice transition here. We have all this white on top we don't need, so let's go ahead and crop that off. Just the crop tool, drag down here, and actually we can, now that we know the size of the head, we can crop it down to here. And then we can bring it up here, and this looks really, really nice. Now, the thing that's kind of not blending too well, I think there's more contrast on the giraffe than there is with the rest of this here. So to help with that, I'm going to click on the background, and I'm going to choose a levels adjustment, and I'm going to just add some black there to bring up the contrast to match the giraffe. And I think that helps a lot. Like 30 or so seems to be okay. So that's it. That's the head. Now the next thing that we're going to do is look at the rest of the body parts. So we're going to take the head and neck that's here, and we can actually drag in the new layer again, or we can use it just how it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to zoom in here, and we're going to take a copy of the pixels here, and we're going to use it in here. So I'm going to duplicate this head layer, and then we're going to title this chest. So we're going to get the move tool, and then we're going to move the chest parts right on to fill the chest area. So I'm going to probably have to transform this and reduce the opacity so I can see it, what's underneath. And then just get it to where it fills in what we need to fill in. So remember, we got this back part right here. We want to make sure we cover that. And I think that's going to do it there. So once we got it transformed, then all we do is get our brush back and start brushing out the parts we don't need. So again, what color do we need to hide? We're going to use black. B for brush. Get our brush here and make sure that we're on the mask. I'm sorry, we need to use, yeah, we're on black. Make sure we're on the mask with black, and then probably a little brush is going to work, larger brush is going to help. So I can now just erase all these parts that I don't need. And it's okay if I go over a little bit the first time here. I'm going to fix it as I get a little closer there with the detail. And you can see if you wanted to use a lower opacity here, I could see the details of his chest here and some of his other details. But let's bring it up and see what it's going to look like. Oh, it looks like there's some spots I missed there. So that's at 100%, and now I can start filling in these finer details in here with a white brush. So hit X. And you just have to really paint carefully. Use a soft brush, which I'm using. And if you go over, it's okay. You just have to go back again with a black brush to erase the part that went over. So that's blended really nicely there. Bring up the opacity. See how it's looking there. There we go. Okay, again, I'm not going to make it perfect because that's what you're going to do. Okay, we're going to do the arms next. And if we look at using the head layer to fit on the arms, we're going to see that we have a problem. So I'm going to do it and show you. So we'll duplicate this layer, and then we'll use V and drag it on here. Now the problem is the arm is thicker than the pixels that we have here. We don't have enough pixels to cover it. And it's really not a good idea to ever make the pixels bigger. We lose quality there, and we don't want to do that. So we want to do it the best way possible. So what I would do is bring this mask over again from the original giraffe, just like we did the first time, and then we'll use the original again. So we'll bring it here, put it here. Now we got this big part here we can transform and get the correct size. Okay, so once we get it close to the right size here, let's go ahead and drag it out onto the arm. And like we did with the chest, let's reduce the opacity so we can see this a little better. And it looks like it's going to fit okay now. Now, what I want to do here also is probably use the top of the neck here and then use the bottom for the bottom arm there. So it looks like I might have made this a little bit too small. I'm going to have to make it a little bit bigger so the whole arm gets giraffe spots here. And it looks like that's probably going to do it. Again, I'm going to use the top part of the neck here and then use the bottom for the forearm. So now that I got that there, double click, and then let's go ahead and erase the parts we don't need. So we're going to get a black brush. Oops, I need to be on the mask. Can make the brush a little bigger here. And then again, just get it close and then refine it. Look, I have this line here like I did before, so I'm going to erase that as well. We're going to erase all that we don't need. And again, let's just get it close to start out with, and then we'll refine from there. So I always usually go a little bit over to start with, and then I fill in the details after that. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Now, okay, so now that I've got it roughed out, what I want to do is bring up the opacity and then get the finishing touches back in here. So get most of the detail back here. Looks like I might have missed a little bit of the shirt here. And so I'm going to switch my color of my brush, make it smaller, and then just get right on these lines here. close as I can get to the edge, the better, because we want a little bit of its fur sticking out. That looks a little more realistic there, instead of having just a straight a straight line, hard line there. So I think that's pretty good. So let's do the other arm next. So I'm just going to go ahead and duplicate this layer because this had pretty much everything that I needed. And then we'll make a new mask from there, but it's the right size. So let's go ahead and duplicate this layer. And then I'll show you a new thing about a mask here. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of this mask now. So we're going to delete the layer mask, and now the whole thing's here, including some of the screw-ups that I had on here before. So when we want to add a layer mask here, we just click down at the bottom here to add a mask. And then we're going to use we're going to erase what we want to when we get it here. So I'm going to reduce the opacity here so I can see what's underneath. And then I'm going to go and transform it to fit on the forearm. And I'm going to use the bottom part this time. So I use T. Control T to transform. We'll move this guy down here. Rotate. And you can really easily follow this line here with part of the neck on the arm, and this will give you a nice transition from the top spots to the bottom ones here. So once you got it where you want it, then go ahead and commit the changes to the transform, and then get a black brush and start erasing the parts that you don't need. So black brush, hit X if it's on white, and we're going to probably want to get it a little larger right now because we have the whole mask here, but we're going to want to erase all the parts that we're not going to use there, which there was a lot of it. And we might have to refine that later. So let's get as close as we can to the arm. See, there's a bunch sticking out there that we might have to get. Across the hand here, and like I said, as close as you can to the arm there. And if we zoom out, we'll probably see some stuff that we missed. There's a bunch up there. B for brush. You can get a larger brush and then delete all that stuff. That we don't want there. Okay, again, let's up the opacity so we can see it, and then refine. Zoom in. And add it where we need it and take it away from where we don't. Okay, it's just doing it rough at first, I like to, and then I switch my brushes and then do the refining edges here with all the little details that we need here. And again, if you need to, you can always reduce the opacity of the brush to make it blend in a little better. Okay, I'm getting sloppy here, and again, you guys won't do this. You guys are going to get it perfect. And you can see here parts of it got erased here in my last pass over. I want to make it a little bit hairy looking. And there we go. Let's zoom back up. Looking good. Okay, you're going to do the same thing with the forearm and this other part of the arm here, and I'm going to let you guys do that. And then once you've got that complete, we're going to add the finishing touches.